Hello, welcome. It's Matthew from Lanjaron Property here, and today we are having a chat with Sally. Sally moved to Spain a few years ago, and we're just going to find out a bit more about her experiences of moving to Spain and what went well and what didn't go so well. So if you're thinking of moving to Spain, some of these experiences might be very helpful for you. So first of all, hi Sally, welcome.
Hi Matt.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to share your experiences.
You're welcome.
With our viewers.
Yes.
So first of all, tell me a bit about yourself, what you were doing before you decided to move to Spain, and what made you decide to move here.
How did it all happen?
Yeah.
Well, my husband and I were living in Hong Kong, and he was living very much the corporate life. And it was definitely coming to an end.
Okay.
And we ended up moving, first of all, back home to Scotland. I spent a couple of years there and then realised that, no, this isn't what we wanted either. And we thought, well, it's time to try and follow the dream, the off-grid dream of a completely new and different, simple, beautiful life in a warmer climate. And we looked at France, weren't so keen on that, and long story short, we ended up here.
You ended up here, and here in Lanjaron as well.
Here in Lanjaron, yes, yeah. When we originally moved over, we were renting in Orgiva.
Okay.
But Lanjaron was where we wanted to actually buy and to, yes, and to settle and to set down our roots.
Okay. So tell me a bit about your experiences when you were looking for somewhere, because you weren't in Spain at the time. So...
No. we were the people that were sitting on the sofa watching programs like A Place in the Sun, looking through all the websites at lots of different properties and going, oh, that looks lovely, but not having a clue about the actual reality of what that property would mean, lifestyle-wise and practicality-wise.
Okay.
And then when we came over here, we came over for like 5 days to look around, and it was a mega whirlwind, a crazy mega whirlwind that we loved.
Yeah.
Ended up putting a deposit down on a rental, came back for that, and it was when we actually moved over here that we realised you have to be here.
Yes.
Or for us anyway, we felt that we had to be here to actually find the property.
That's great. Many people talk to me about the differences between buying a property in Spain and in many other countries. Before you came here, did you know much about the differences, or was it a complete surprise?
We knew nothing.
Okay.
We were the greenies. We were so innocent. We were so naive, and we thought, oh, it'll be fine. We just assumed that it would be more like the UK. Okay. Obviously, different laws, different rules and procedures. But we weren't expecting the Wild West.
That's a phrase I hear used a lot.
Yes, it really.
It's like the Wild West.
Yeah, it really felt like the Wild West for us.
Well, what caused that feeling? Was it the difference in the legalities of properties, or the way that you look for properties in Spain? What was the big difference for you?
I think for us, a lot of it was the legalities,
Okay.
but also going around to look at properties. It just. In the UK, it's really sort of everything's quite structured and formal, and you know the process, and you feel quite safe and held, really. We came over here and it was just like, we were shown so many different types of properties, and we were on quite pretty low budget.
Right.
So it was limited as to what we could look at. But even so, we were taken to sort of things that wouldn't even be a possibility. And
Okay. So did you feel that your experiences were that you weren't, the people you were dealing with weren't really listening to what your requirements were, or they were just taking you to what they wanted you to see rather than...
I think a bit of both.
Okay.
I think a bit of both. I mean, because the budget was so low, there wasn't that much that they could show us, but we were taken to stuff that we wouldn't even have been able to renovate because of the cost of it. And we were beginning to get a bit desperate and a bit despondent, shall we say.
But you have found your dream home now.
We have found it, yeah. That's a miracle story in itself.
Yes. Yeah.
And we found somewhere that is completely off-grid, and we love it. But that in itself has been a journey in actually understanding how much goes into being off-grid.
Yes. Yeah.
Water, the whole water system here in Spain as well. obviously getting to grips with solar power. So yes, it's been a journey.
Certainly
worth it, but a journey.
It's good that it's worth it. That's the important part. The acequia system is certainly something that most people don't really understand and get a bit confused by.
Not a
before
clue.
moving over. So just thinking about that, as someone who has moved over without all of that information, what sort of things do you feel you wish you had known, or the information had been offered to you before you came here?
I think it would have been really helpful if we'd had just like a basic outline of the purchase process and like terminology, because there's the whole language barrier as well. So things like compraventa or acequias, or the difference between a nave, a vivienda, a cortijo, a finca, and that sort of thing would have been really helpful. And things like the importance of access and water rights, all the basic stuff that we thought would be just sort of all right.
Yes. Yes, certainly I hear that again a lot from people who are coming from, particularly from the UK, where property transactions tend to be very structured and very legal, whereas here it is perfectly possible to buy a property that is completely illegal, and also legal has very different terminologies.
Yes, it does.
You can buy a legal building, but you can't actually live in it.
Can't live in it, yes.
So that would have been useful information for you.
We would have loved that. And also things, what happens after the purchase, because we didn't get any advice. And, it's probably our fault as well, because we were so innocent and naive. It was like, you're paying your yearly tax bill. We never got any notifications of that. And then it turned out that the paperwork hadn't been done properly. And blah-de-blah-de-blah. So even 3 years down the line, we found ourselves in a really difficult situation that we had no idea about.
So did you find that once the purchase had gone through, there wasn't really any support for you afterwards?
There was no follow-up at all.
Follow-up.
No follow-up, no. And we don't need to be babysat.
Of course.
But,
there's some guidance as to
some guidance. It would have been lovely, we would have appreciated that.
So with your experiences now, if you could sort of turn the clock back, is there anything you would do differently?
I would have done a lot more research myself into what goes into a purchase and the processes, and I probably would have tried to brush up on my Spanish a lot more, so I didn't feel so completely out of my depth. I think that is something really important as well. And I mean, if you guys had been around when we first moved over, that would have been fantastic.
That's great. We'll pay you for that bit later.
No problem.
So, despite the challenges, you're certainly laughing and smiling about it.
Yes,
so, would it be right to say that despite all those challenges, you wouldn't change moving here?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's the best thing that we ever did. And
what do you like most about living in Lanjaron?
I love for me, being in the mountains and being in a small spa town is lovely. The way of life is completely different. We've got seasons here. We've also there's a really beautiful sense of community. So lots of different nationalities and obviously Spanish. And we just love it. We really wanted that. We wanted to step back from the treadmill and have that dream of being off-grid and having a quieter. And we thought it would be simpler life. It's not necessarily simpler, but it's definitely a life different, and it's a lifestyle that we really love.
Okay, that's fantastic. I'm so glad you're happy. And you mentioned the people in the community here. What's your favourite thing about the people in Lanjaron?
Everyone comes from a completely different walk of life and background and nationality. But I think everyone that finds themselves here or is drawn here is because they want to take a step off the treadmill and have a different type of life and not be caught in the hamster wheel of work, sleep, family, work, sleep, car, house.
Sounds familiar to a lot of people, I'm sure. And obviously, certainly I've found that the Spanish here in Lanjaron have been extremely welcoming.
Yes.
Have you found similar?
We love it. So friendly, and people say, you go past somebody in the street and then they'll say buenas, and it's relaxed, it's friendly, it's open. And yeah, we couldn't have found ourselves in a better place.
Fantastic. I'm so glad you're happy here. We certainly like it here. And thank you so much for your time today, Sally. It's
You're
been
welcome.
lovely to hear your story. And hopefully our viewers will get something from it as well.
Yeah,
So
no.
thank you very much. Thank you to Sally. I said I'm Matthew from Lanjaron Property, and hope you've enjoyed that. Do like and subscribe below. And that's me for now. So goodbye for now.